my time. It's the gentleman from Virginia. Will get his full 5 minutes, of course. And the gentleman from Virginia, Mr. Cline, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank our witnesses for being here today. This is a truly enlightening opportunity for us to hear from you, for the public to hear from you as well. Your voices need to be heard, and as Lieutenant Garrido said, the silent majority needs to speak up. I come from a state where we have these problems. We've had these problems of recidivism, but in the 90s we took action to address them. We passed a ban on parole. We passed stricter laws regarding bond and bail laws, and we now have the lowest recidivism rate in the country in Virginia. We're blessed to have leaders who recognize the benefit of that, and we want to keep it that way. Illinois is unfortunately in a different place. Their recidivism rate, whereas Virginia's is around 20%, Illinois is around 35%, Chicago's 89%, as high as 89% potentially. It is really shocking to hear what has happened to the recidivism rate and what that does to crime. Lieutenant, can you talk about the recidivism rate, but also in the idea that not just chasing, but taking action regarding smaller crimes can help prevent larger crimes?
With the recidivism, and I don't know the statistics, but I know there's numbers out there that show that, you know, a majority of the crimes are committed by the same people that are just out over and over and over and over. As far as the other aspect of your question, I'm sorry, can you repeat that last part again?
Well, can you talk about kind of a broken windows policy and,
right.
Where?
So up until 2016, we used to have a policy of doing contact cards, and that's where officers would, anytime they stopped or came in contact with somebody, you would document it on a little card and you would turn it in, and they would get put in the computer. So it helped actually solve a lot of investigations because people could look up and see where people were that matched certain descriptions. Policies changed. We went to an investigative stop report, which was 2 pages, took a ton of time to complete, and the numbers dropped big time. So before 2016, we were stopping anywhere from 450 to 500,000 people a year here in Chicago. So it's engaging with the public out there. It's proactive policing. That first year, 2016, we dropped to 108,000 stops, and it's dropped down to now where it's probably in about the 30,000 stops a year. That's a lot of people that are not interacting with the police anymore, so they feel emboldened, they're braver, they're going to carry their weapons, they're going to do more crimes.
And talk to me about the impact that the defund the police movement has had on that as well.
These officers want to do the job that they are hired to do. They want to go out there, they want to work. Helping people is in their DNA, and putting these restrictions on and making it extremely difficult, making them jump through hoops, making them spend all this downtime. You know, before it was quick. You know, you'd stop somebody, you could do a contact card, you'd move on to the next one. When you have to stop and do a 2-page report in the computer, it completely hampers the whole process.
And Officer Yanez, you mentioned your coworker who actually hesitated, and the impact of that defund the police movement on officers hesitating on the scene, whether it is to engage or to actually take action. Can you speak a little bit about the impact that the defund the police movement has had on officer responsiveness?
I didn't say that. My partner never hesitated, but I can see that
one of your coworkers, and maybe it was Lieutenant. Yeah,
the lieutenant had mentioned that the officer was fighting with the gentleman with PCP, but I have seen a lot of it while I was an officer, that you second guess yourself, like even pulling your gun out during a situation where you kind of have a gut feeling. There's like, you got to get a number for that. And then so many different policies. You know, it's so hard to be a proactive officer nowadays because of all the limitations that you have as an officer, as a liability.
Well, it's led to 2,000 officers short this year, 350 resignations, lateral transfers, as you were talking about. And the Safety Act just seems to be really, really harmful, and the potential is going to be very dangerous. I'm looking at, for a bond hearing, you need to establish proof to hold a defendant. You have to establish proof that the suspect committed the crime and poses a threat to the physical safety of a specific identifiable person. Wouldn't that necessitate the introduction of trial evidence in a bond hearing? And how on earth would you be able to adjudicate in a bond hearing whether a proof existed that a suspect committed a crime?
Well, here, just I think it was this morning, yesterday morning or this morning, an offender shot his neighbor's dog in the head. Officers responded. He was a foot chase. They recovered a backpack that he pitched that had weapons in it and loaded magazines. And for court today, they actually did ask for a pretrial detention, and the judge said no and denied it. So even if we have prosecutors that are willing to actually go forward with detention, now we have judges that will throw that one out.